What's up, everyone? We are here at FS-ISAC FinCyber today is what they call it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and we're in Scottsdale, Arizona, and look, it's beautiful. Look at this golf course. You play this golf course yet?
You know what? I haven't. It's a little intimidating. The grass is beautiful. I don't want to leave divots and get thrown out and disinvited.
Or look at the, look at the pond. I'd probably lose like at least a dozen golf balls.
Oh, easily.
All right, I'm standing here with Michael. You want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Michael Orozco, Managing Director, Cybersecurity for Morgan Franklin.
So what does that mean?
So what that means is I actually serve clients that are working on their cybersecurity needs, helping to improve their security posture, and also understand why they're being attacked, what they're being attacked for, and whether or not they're capable of being resilient and survive the attack.
Yeah, and cybersecurity is so big these days. I've got a lot of students. The reason why we do these types of 360 videos is to give the experience to some of the students that have taken a class of mine or have been an intern. What kind of advice would you give those interns today?
You know what? There's a tremendous amount of information out there. It's available for free. Any of the major vendors and companies offer information. I would say that the biggest advice is take exposure. Yeah. Cybersecurity is such a broad field. There's a defensive position that you could take. There's an analytical position. There's a forensics of what happened and how it was done. There is a regulatory component to it, a legal component. So the more that you know and the more that you read or take a look at, it gives you a better idea of what part of it you want to specialize in. It's like telling people that are saying, I want to go into medicine. Do you want to be a cardiologist? Do you want to be an orthopedist? What part?
I've said that so many times because there's a lot of students that come through saying, I want to be a pen tester. Like 80% of students say, I want to be a pen tester. But you know what? The less than 10% of a security organization is going to be a pen testing red team.
Exactly. And I think that the other thing to take into account is the fact that what do you do after the pen test? So you found the issues. How do you harden that cybersecurity? How do you make it better? How do you prevent it from actually taking hold of a company and really jeopardizing the entire enterprise? There's a tremendous amount.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Do you like what you do?
I love it. Yeah. Love it. And I love it for a variety of reasons. I mean, you meet some amazing people, wicked smart, a lot of great craftsmanship. It's challenging. It's never a dull moment. It keeps you geeky for those that like technology, but also at the same token, it's a real deal. I mean, it happens. It's going on.
Yeah, and you get to come out here and see golf courses like this. Maybe not play them.
No, not play on them, but definitely look at them.
Look at them, and get to meet cool people. We just met today.
Yes.
Actually. And but I think this is a relationship I'm going to take advantage of because this guy's smart. He's a smart guy.
And we share a kinship. We share an industry passion, technology understanding, and we love what we do.
Yeah, we absolutely do. So, Michael, thanks for joining me on this segment.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Happy to have you on.
Good luck to everyone out there. Pursue your dream. Take a look at it. Enjoy it.
Yeah. So enjoy this view, guys, of the golf course. We're not going to get on there today, but beautiful view.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
All right, hey everyone, I am here outside of FS-ISAC, still in Scottsdale at the Westin Kierland. Beautiful resort, sitting here with Josh. Now, Josh and I have worked together in the past. Where are you working now, Josh, and what are you doing?
I work for American Express now.
Yeah.
I'm the interim director of enterprise security architecture. And together we work to put together visuals for the CISO or other VPs about risk and spending.
I mean, that's interesting because when we started working together in cybersecurity, you weren't, I mean, you knew about cybersecurity, but you weren't considering yourself a cybersecurity expert back then, right?
No.
So talk a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today as a security architect.
I've had a very non-linear path in my careers. I've had about 4 or 5 careers.
Yeah.
I was a graphic designer, was a stockbroker, a market research analyst, and eventually I decided that I liked cybersecurity, and so I studied for it on my own for about 8 months, and then I applied for a job at Dignity Health where I met you, and Damian gave me my shot to work in cyber.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about this earlier or yesterday. The fact that personality and drive to want to do something makes a big difference in your success in this field. Right.
Yeah. Just commitment, being humble about what you don't know, and being okay with that and that ambiguity, and being prepared to ask a lot of questions and not ask 2-3 times, but write it down.
Well, I mean, that's a good point because you think that we know everything, but we don't. I mean, I hate to interview people, ask them questions, and they kind of try to fake their way through it, because that's not natural. I mean, if you don't know something, you got to ask, and that's normal within any team.
All of IT, who knows everything in IT? In all of security, no one does. It always changes by the day. It has to be a team effort. You have to have resources, contacts, and partnerships.
Or yeah, just your own ability to do your own research.
Yeah, and you have to be committed to learning on your own,
Right.
so that you can understand what people are even talking about. It takes time. And
Yeah, and
commitment.
you talked about just a little bit about that, right? Being able to go and study on your own. And we talked about certifications and some of the ones that you're trying to get today, like the CISSP.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people trying to study on their own and find their own knowledge, their own path through certifications or online study? Any tips for them?
I really struggled to find a mentor, and what I found is that looking at the data was the best mentor. So rather than have someone read to me what were the most in-demand certifications, thinking that they had some inside information on that, I just went and found the list myself and decided, okay, well, if that's what's most in demand, then that's probably what people will want to hire for. And so that's what I began studying. But you do whatever you have to do. I would use multiple sources, multiple formats. So if you have to, make an ebook for yourself. Print a PDF that fits on your phone, so you can read it on your lunch breaks.
Well, do you find that more difficult to be learning remotely online versus in a traditional classroom?
I print stuff regularly. But people remember things in print much more easily than they do electronically. So by nature, you're going to want to, if you can, buy a book, but sometimes you can't always. But if you can print things, that makes it easier to memorize and just learn the topics.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the person, right? There's some people who love to print stuff and see physical paper so they can highlight and circle, and there are people who just don't want to deal with paper, and so it's just all ebooks online.
Yeah, I mean, you can do electronic flashcards. Obviously, test questions are a big thing. You want to spend time and energy on test questions. You don't want to learn for the test necessarily to be successful in cyber, but if you want to pass the test, that's a way to do it.
But is that the only thing? Taking tests and online certification?
No, they call those empty certs. So you don't be an empty cert.
Yeah.
You want to have some experience and know how can you help the organization. That's really what you're trying to do. How can I help reduce risk to help the organization?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because I know there's a lot of students that come and say, well, what certifications should I get? And I always say it's a balance, right? There are certifications that are great for your career, but it's got to be balanced out with practical experience and how you're trying to help your organizations.
I think it helps to know yourself too. The more you get to know about cyber, the different areas within cyber appeal to different personalities more than others, and so that will guide you as well to deciding what certifications you need to be in a particular role. So maybe being on a phishing awareness team is not the same skill set. It's very much communications oriented. It's something like firewalls, right? Very, very different types of skill sets. And so if you're going to try to get a firewall cert, but you're going to be mostly working on phishing awareness, you're going to struggle, and it's not going to be a good fit. So you really want to focus on that.
Well, unless you're trying to expand, it's okay, right? Expand out your knowledge and grow a little bit beyond.
Grow without saying.
Yeah.
You're going to want to have a broad exposure in some ways. They call it a T, right? So you want to be somewhat broad, but then also dive deep on an area or two, or even an M or an N, right?
Right. And I actually just remembered something. We're both ASU alumni in the same program, the MSIM program.
Yeah.
That just came to me. I totally forgot about that.
We talked about that.
We did. I think you started it after I had finished my master's at ASU. But anyways, thanks a lot, guys, for tuning into this segment. Josh, thank you so much for joining me. It's great seeing you. I think it's been like 4 years since we've actually seen each other in person.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's really nice catching up with you, Damian.
Yeah, and a
really
great
fun
venue here at FS-ISAC. But stay tuned. I'll have a couple more guests coming up later in this VR vlog. Hey everyone. Welcome back to this last segment. I'm still here at FS-ISAC FinCyber, Scottsdale, Arizona. Third day. So if you see me with 3 different outfits, it's third day. But I managed to find the best dressed man in all of cyber, Larry.
Hey, how are you, sir?
How are you doing? Thanks for joining me on this 360 vlog.
Yes.
We're sitting in the vendor hall.
Yep.
What are you up to these days, and where are you working?
So I just joined an organization, Scale, right? And I'm super, super excited because I think we're actually solving a problem that the industry has long been waiting for.
Yeah, cool. Well, I don't want to turn this into a sales conversation at all. But, we've been hanging out these past 3 days, having fun. We've been seeing people that we haven't seen in years.
Right.
How's it been coming back after COVID?
So I'm enjoying it. I love getting out and traveling and connecting with people and just being out in the world, right, and seeing what everybody's doing, right? It's important that we do this, right, because online and the world we've moved to of being virtual is so impersonal, and you can sort of have conversations, but it's not until you shake somebody's hand, give somebody a hug, that you really begin to get the stories of what's really going on, not just in their work, but in their life.
In their lives, right? Yeah. And I got that last night when we were having dinner. We were having conversations, really just personal conversations. It had nothing to do about sales, had nothing to do about technology. Well, a little bit, but that's new stuff, right? How it's affecting us in this industry, but really it's us as people,
right?
The relationships.
At the end of the day, the most valuable asset that every one of us has is our relationship.
Right. I mean, the last time I saw you in person was probably a year and a half ago at Black Hat.
Right.
Right. So just coming here and seeing how you're dressed so fine. This is signature Larry. I said, hey, you gotta come with your suit jacket, and he's got a little flower, the handkerchief.
I zhuzh it up a little bit.
So I decided to put on my velvet purple jacket.
Yeah, this is that's fly.
Because I knew I was talking to Larry today, so I had to step it up just a little bit.
Nice.
But one of the other things that we've been talking about too is diversity in technology, in cyber. I think we're making progress, but are we making it fast enough?
So, is it ever fast enough? Honestly, we're definitely making progress, both from an underrepresented minorities and women, right? We're definitely seeing progress. Look around the room, right? We're seeing progress. I spoke on Monday. I gave a talk on imposter syndrome at the Security Congress with ISC Squared. The room was packed, and it was the most diverse room I think I've seen in a while at a big conference. But when we went back out on the floor, and similar to here, I actually had a young lady ask me, so the room was so diverse, why does the floor look so different than the room? And I said, that's why we're doing this, right? When you look at the floor, this is what everybody deals with in their day-to-day. So what we're trying to do is get the floor to look more like the room. Right, and it just takes time, and it takes, what I like to call individual accountability. Right, we can't sit back and think, oh yeah, we agree that there's a problem, so we can't wait till someone fixes it. Everyone has to figure out what is my role as an individual. Every individual, I don't care where you're at in the spectrum or in the stack, CISO all the way down to the lowest level analyst in the organization. Everybody's got a part that they can play. Yeah,
and I think that's key, right? We always talk about it's not what you look like, the background you come from. I think we all want that type of diversity to have different mindsets in the room to have the conversations. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks, Larry, for joining me on this vlog. Great to see you again in person. I don't know when we're going to see you again. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon now that COVID's over. But it's been a great conference, as you can see. Right now, the floor is empty because they're all in sessions. And it would be a little bit crowded had we filmed it then. But thanks again, guys. Tune in for the next episode, and we'll see who I meet up with in Singapore next week. Thanks.
Nice.